An intro may seem unnecessary for this kind of thing, but I do it for two reasons. Number one, YouTube doesn't like to monetize me if I swear within the first minute, and number two, sometimes people stay, get their feelings hurt, get mad, and then have the audacity to blame me, which is funny. So let's make it a little worse and say you should take everything that I say here today completely literally, not an ounce of satire in sight. Now that may end up in you feeling insulted, so if you are, it's also important to remember that I don't really care. You want to know what I do care about? Parsnips. They are awful. If I wanted to taste bad perfume, I'd go to Victoria's Secret with a wine glass or lick your mother's arm. Anyway, you know the drill from the last one. Here's what your strategist says about you and a bonus little tidbit at the end. And one more addendum. Yeah, I know. Shut up. If you don't know what you're doing in Rivals, ask some questions below. If there's enough, I'll start writing them down and making videos addressing them in large chunks. True Adam Warlock players are only excellent. Now you may have thought to yourself, but the ones I see are fucking awful. Correct. There are true Adam Warlock players, and then there are players who have yet to quit. The Adam Warlocks you see in your games are going to try him 2 more times and then swear him off entirely. Do you want to know who finds success with Adam Warlock? People who are already good at everything else. They can do your job better than you, and they walk into the room knowing that. This is their game, and you are not in it because they needed help. You are there because they needed ankle weights. Most people tend to wait to be disappointed. Adam players begin their morning expecting it of everyone. As a result of this, the most prudent solution shook out to be not giving a fuck. Either they are going to win and you are going to be there while they do it, or they are going to lose and it's because your fat ass was too heavy. They love their job, they just detest their coworkers, like many of us do. But there's no hope that teammates are going to listen, so Adams prefer to cross their arms and silently glare while they do all the work themselves. Cloak and Dagger mains have the collective brain power of a fruit fly slapping into a goddamn window. You may not like this, and you may not even understand it, but if you are a Cloak and Dagger player, well, you're probably just another DPS Moira player in disguise. That accusation alone is worse than condemning your offspring to generations of indentured servitude. One would think Little Miss Auto-Aim over here could at least hit somebody by accident, but no. They couldn't hit a civilian-dense area with a fleet of Hellfire missiles, so I don't know, at least we know they're not working for the CIA. Then again, we could have disqualified them upon considering the name's Central Intelligence Agency in retrospect. That word's a little antithetical to their whole thing. Don't worry, they don't know what antithetical means. They swap to Cloak at the beginning of the match, and then forget the rest of their keybinds, earning them the accolade of shittiest Scarlet Witch wannabe. Here's the thing, though. As much as I would like to see them locked in an outhouse and set on fire, I can't fully blame them. Even as a duelist player, I recognize my colleagues are complete and utter fuck-ups. I don't blame a single strategist for throwing their hands in the air and deciding it's not worth healing certain people if they're just gonna fuck up anyway. So why do I seem to curse Cloak players? Well, you just wait, it gets a lot worse, and Cloak players are just another duelist that stumbled into the wrong section of the character selector. But they didn't even have the decency to pick a character with burst damage, so I don't know, fuck them. The Invisible Woman hasn't been out for very long, but I'm no stranger to making rash assumptions with little to no information. As a matter of fact, I love doing that shit. It's my favorite pastime. If you play the Invisible Woman, you are just a trendy little thing, aren't you? You can't resist getting on a bandwagon. If something can get you to go, ooh, shiny, wow, you love that shit. You are pretty much the only reason that they can keep making new iPhones. Well, that and Apple's countless sweatshops and the atrocities committed therein, and I know I said this before, but I'm gonna say it again, and no, I don't give a shit if her comic version also made her look like a $4 whore. Can we get these skins some fucking pants? I know it's too easy to make money off of people who were playing with only one hand on their keyboard. I get that it's a large chunk of change to let pass by. I do. But goddamn, man, pants, shorts even. Stop throwing characters out here in thongs. Do you see Namor over there rocking a banana hammock? I don't think so. I'm not saying turn character models into refrigerators, just have a little decency. These are superheroes, not strippers. We don't need to make it weird. This next one was real interesting because I had to make several calls to various appraisers across my county. As it would turn out, the life of a Jeff Main is valued at exactly one water balloon full of liquid hippo shit. Now, this was difficult because we had to cross-reference a lot of things. You see, we didn't have a land shark to calculate with, naturally. Instead, we had to find all sorts of disappointments in our lives, like Jared from Subway or the Game of Thrones finale, and work out an average from there. Because, we sat down and we figured, what is a Jeff Main but your average disappointment? Fortunately, there's really no such thing as a full-on Jeff Main. Jeff is what we refer to as a girlfriend pick. You see, a girlfriend pick is what happens when you have someone who knows nothing about a particular game, but you want them to feel included, so you search around to find not only the easiest character, but the one which is hardest to fuck up. Preferably it's cute, that holds attention longer, but there's only one important aspect. Will they get away with following you around like a lost child in Walmart, and does it require barely, if any, mechanical skills? If the answers are yes and yes, well, that right there is a girlfriend pick. Now, the name girlfriend pick may feel exclusionary or demeaning to some, so allow me to clarify. You don't need to suck dick if you choose the girlfriend pick, but if you did, oh boy, you probably do. Loki players are just sadistic assholes. There's no other way to explain someone who maintains the patience to torture a single member of the enemy team 5 feet in front of their spawn for the whole game, while also maintaining zero fucking patience for anybody on their own team. This may sound in line with the Adam Warlock assessment from earlier. It is not. Adams care about winning. Loki players only care about themselves. You want to fuck up my line of sight and then you ping healing? Cool. I'm not even going to pay attention to you the rest of the match. That's how their brain works. To Adam, be useful or not, they don't care. Whatever happens is going to happen regardless of your input. To Loki, if you're not an asset, then why the fuck do you exist? There are no strategists more likely to maliciously stand up and abandon you to do their own thing. Cloak's a dumb shit, they're gonna fail on accident. It's different. Lokis are doing it on purpose. They prefer standing behind the entire enemy team, holding up their middle finger over helping bad teammates. They view relationships through the lens of, if you aren't gonna work with me, well, I'm sure as shit not working for you. Luna Snow players exist, and that's about the extent of it. They don't carry an ego because they know how violent the backlash will be for them getting mouthy. Someone reminded them very early on how pathetic someone is for trash-talking on the game's easiest characters. Plus, it's almost impossible for them to die, so they naturally just have a better time. This is not somebody who tests their limitations. They play it safe or they don't play at all. If they could, all of their attire would involve some degree of bubble wrap. They will bolt at the first sign of an accurate enemy and say nothing to the team who is now defenseless. Now, they're not hoping that the team fails like Loki, they're just too busy hyperventilating to speak a warning into existence. They don't seem to realize that they're playing one of, if not the strongest support presently available. I say this because they start shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds whenever they see a red health bar show up on their LOS. Despite this, they are going to lead the match in healing. Not because they targeted you, as I said, too busy running away. It's her ultimate which will give the team permission to face tank the wrath of God. These pussies are running full of demigod light software, and they're afraid of their own shadows. Mantis players, you know your self-boost is also a self-heal, correct? Actually, I should expand that. Do you know what any of your abilities do? I'm pretty inclined to say you guys can't read just like the Venom players and leave it at that, but that's not enough. You see, at this point, I don't even feel bad when I knock the Iron Fist that just jumped on you out of his sleep. I don't care. You deserve it. Everyone around you knows more about how your abilities work and how your character works than you do. Why? You do 5 things, and I am factoring in both shooting and a passive that you don't even know that you have. Jeff is a dipshit. We already know that. So why have you been listening to his advice? Next thing you know, I'm going to hear about how you've been taking aiming tips from Cloak and Dagger. The only tips you're going to be taking in the near future if you keep this shit up are hollow points, courtesy of yours truly. Quit giving me that creepy-ass 1,000-yard stare when I'm stood in front of you asking for healing. And for the love of fuck, stop peering over my shoulder so you can somehow miss every shot of your primary fire while you aren't healing. Or boosting. Or doing anything. If I could find a way to get paid for terrible ideas, well then I'll finally have a use for you. I'll hold you down and pry out your brain with a crowbar and attach it to a car battery. But until that glorious day, go hold Doctor Strange's hand and let him know I'm gonna fucking stab him with a rusty fishing knife if he lets you anywhere near me. Rocket Raccoon players smoke a whole lot of rock, however, they are functional addicts. There are two kinds of rocket players, and they are the same person. One is worthless, and the other absolutely refuses to die despite how much of a boon it would be for society as a whole. You see, the good one doesn't heal sensationally, not better than other strategists at least, but they will always end up dominating the healing portion of the scoreboard. They don't get their value through multiple massive bursts of output like others, they get major value because they simply cannot fucking die. God won't take them, and the devil clearly isn't done yet, so they get dumped onto us. Then a dramatic escalation will occur when the introduction of the good rocket evolving into a firm missile happens. This happens when they realize that you can't kill them, so healing becomes a thing of the past. They're playing to kill you now, and you can't hit them, and their orbs will ping-pong back to the team and them, so they get to do whatever the hell they want. That's why I call them crackheads. You allowed them to become confident, now they're inside of your shed and you can't fucking get them out. Good luck. Now that final bonus note that I mentioned, and I'm saying this from the perspective of a tank, so if I can do it, you can too. If you call strategists healers, I already encourage dismissal of at least 90% of your opinions. Support works, not healers. This is mostly for you, duelists. Strategists are meant to give a helping hand, not be your goddamn babysitter. And some of you may go, you're being a pedantic dick, which is true, however, it's also got a point. When you talk to a new player, point at Adam Warlock and say he's a healer, someone should call you a dumbass. If you're pointing at that glorious golden howitzer and you say he's a healer, you're an asshat. The man is here to completely dunk on your kill count when the end of game scoreboard shows up. And I know you'll still just see them as heal bots, so how about we do it this way? 90% of duelists do not need more healing. They need to stop insta-locking duelists so they can feed round after round after round until they can get their allotted bot match and think that they did a good job. In other words, son, you don't need healing. You need to be better at your job so the strategists can fulfill the rest of theirs. That's all. As usual, the Discord server is in the description if you're old enough. Oh, and one last thing. Strategist, this is for you, because the last thing was to duelists and tanks. You just keep doing God's work. Stop getting tunnel vision on the tank. There are other parts of the map. I am 12 feet to your right on the high ground, screaming for assistance because I just killed 4 people completely alone. I am cold and I am scared. Turn your head and stop pretending to be a goddamn goldfish.